Welcome back to digital class, and this is a discussion for test 1B reproduction in plants and animals. And now we are focusing specifically in plants and animals at the same time. Okay, so before I start discussing the question, I just want to remind you the raise method that we learned. So we learned about RAISE. So raise. And this is something that we should go through every time when we look at every single question. So R stands for what? Read. We are supposed to read everything, every single words, and we must actually annotate. Annotate means that basically we circle or underline some of the key words that actually they mentioned in the question. And I stands for identify, and we are supposed to identify the topic. What are the topic that this question is actually talking about? And S stands for select, and we are supposed to select the concept that is relevant from the particular topic. And E stands for eliminate. And eliminate is specifically for multiple choice question, where you can eliminate some of the wrong options or wrong alternatives. And the E also stands for explain. We are supposed to explain, especially in the open-ended question. Okay, so now let's look at our first question here. So the first question here says that which of the following statements about reproduction in human is not correct? So again, not correct means basically wrong. Okay, that's not right, wrong. Again, and now we are supposed to identify the topic. What topic is this actually about? It's about reproduction in human. Okay, and let's look at some of the things I mentioned here. Is fertilized by one sperm. Is that true? Yes, it's true, right? Okay, it's true. Second, fertilized egg travels to the womb. Again, if you know the structure, how the structure kind of looks like, we know that ovaries actually produce the egg. Then slowly, when it meets with the sperm, it will implant at the womb. So this is actually correct. Third one, eggs are produced and stored in ovaries. Yes, ovaries. Okay, that's two sides of ovaries. It's correct. And number four, pollination must take place before fertilization. Is there any pollination actually occur in human? No, that is actually only for plants. That's why option 4 is the wrong one. Okay, so the answer is option 4. Now, number 2, study the diagram below regarding human reproduction. Again, this is about human reproduction. Substance X produced by males, substance Y produced by female. So male basically, you think kind of can guess. This is basically sperm, right? This is basically the uh, egg. And undergo process Z, then it has a child, become a child. Okay, and you know that that's basically fertilization. So you just need to actually understand that when it comes to human reproduction, the only process that we learn is only fertilization. So when you mention about process for human reproduction, fertilization. Okay. So again, which of the following correctly identifies X, Y, and Z? So X is what? Pollen grain. When you look at the word pollen grain for human reproduction, for sure is wrong. So we only left with sperm. Y is do female also produce sperm? No, right? Wrong. And very easily we identify it's actually option number 4. Okay, and we are done for this question, and let's move on to the next question. Now, the next questions here says that the diagram below shows a human reproductive system. Again, circle and annotate the word human reproductive system with parts. And again, with parts means that there are 4 parts that we learn mainly, right? Okay, here, 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 and actually we learn about here, so the fallopian tube. Okay, now let's look at here. Which of the following statements are true? Again, the word true. A. Ovules can be found in you. Did we actually talk about ovules when we come about human reproductive system? Seems like not really, right? We talk about ovules only in plants because ovules actually develop into seeds, right, in plants. So this is no. B. T contains human reproductive cells. T contains. I mean, we know that female reproductive cells is basically egg cell. Do it contain? Not really, right? Okay, T is the vagina. Okay, now C. S is where the fertilized egg attach itself to grow. Yes, the answer is actually right. S actually implants here and it attach here and it grow and grow and grow. So, I mean, when we actually see that A and B are wrong, so basically eliminated all of this already. So again, the only answer left is option number 2. Okay, let's move on to question number 4. The diagram below shows the reproductive system of a woman. Again, when we talk about woman, reproductive system, we know this is about a human reproductive system. Will a woman be able to have a baby if she undergoes a procedure where a single cut is made at X? So as you can see, X is here and a single cut is being made. Are they still able to have baby? Now, number 1 here says no, there will be not be any eggs left. Not really, right? Okay. Now you need to understand a very important concept is that here able to produce but not able to travel. But we still have what? We still have another side. A still can release egg and travel that side. Okay. So number second, no, the eggs cannot move to the womb. Again, we have A, the egg still can move. Number 3, yes, egg produced by part A still can move to the womb. Yes, this is exactly what we want. Okay. So 3 actually is right. So we can write 3 already. But let's go through 4 also just in case we might make mistake, right? Number 4, yes, sperm produced by part A can still move to the womb. Do part A produce sperm? Not really, right? Again, this is woman. It's actually a female reproductive system. So there's nothing about sperm that's being produced by female. So this is wrong. So the answer is option number 3. Okay, let's move on to question number 5. Heredity. Which of the following characteristic is not passed on to the young? Is not. Again, the keyword here is not. Okay. So basically in the booklet that we learned, we actually mentioned 2 things that's very important. Length of hair, that's not, we will not be able to pass on, and also the fingerprint. So if you still remember these 2 ideas, so automatically you know the answer is option number 2. Okay, so it's option number 2. Let's look at the next question. Question number 6. The table below records some of the characteristics of Jenny's parents. Okay, so this is the mother, so this is the father. So, which of the following description of Jenny shows the characteristic she can most likely inherit from the parents? So, number 1, Janice is tall. So, you can see father is tall, so it is possible. Okay, you can put a tick there. Has dimples. Is it possible? You see, mother and father don't have. So, this is possibly no. Okay, so because most likely, right? So, 1 you can just cross out. Number 2, Jenny is tall. Yes, it's tall. The father is tall, so it's okay. No dimples. Yes, both of them no dimples. Has detached earlobes. But the problem is, mother have attached, father also have attached. Means that this is wrong. Okay, so option 2 is out for now. Janice is short. It's possible, right? Short. Possible. The mother is short. Has dimples. Okay, again, both parents don't have. So out already. So option 3 out. Number 4, Janice is short. Yes, the mother is short. Has no dimples. Yes, both of the parents no dimples. Has brown hair. Yes, the mother also have brown hair, right? As you can see here. So obviously option number 4 is the one that most likely inherited. Okay, so option number 4. The next one, study Eva's family tree below. Again, as you can see, the square is the male, the circle is the female. Let's look at here. Based on the family tree above, again, your answer should be based on the family tree. Who did Eva inherit characteristic P from? So Eva is here. This is Eva. So is it possible to be H? Now again, inherit, right? So means that it's supposed to be from a previous generation, right? So previous generation. So H is not supposed to be lah, okay? So you can trace up. If you trace up, it can only be C to D. Do C to D have? No. Then trace up. Then we'll go to A. And the answer is option number 1. Okay, and we are done for question 7. Let's move on to question number 8. Question number 8 here says that Sammy drew the reproductive parts. Again, the word parts means that it's different parts, okay, of human and a plant respectively. Which two parts indicate where the development of a fertilized egg take place in the human reproductive system? So when do this actually development fertilized egg take place? Okay. Now, in human reproductive system, we know that it actually take place in what? Where? The womb. So let me just write here. Human, I know is womb. How about plant? Plant is actually the ovary, right? So A, B, C, which one is womb? That's A, right? Then plant, W, X, Y, which one is the ovary? It's Y, right? So the answer is what? A and Y. Option number 2. That's all. Let's move on to the next question. Question 9. Study the diagram below carefully. So there's human and there's plant. Which one of the following parts perform a similar function as part A? So let's see part A. Part A is this. What is this? This is the testis. And what does testis actually do? Produce and store basically the sperm. And again, now we are comparing human and plant, so you need to be very careful, okay? So we can also use the word here, male reproductive cell, okay? Because you know that plant don't have sperm, right? Okay, but they have something similar, is a male reproductive cell. So which parts produce and store male reproductive cell? So B is basically the stigma, C is the anther, D I think is the filament, E is the ovary. So which one? I mean, obviously it's supposed to be C, the anther. Okay, the anther. So the answer is number 2. Okay, so let's move on, and now we'll be discussing the open-ended question number 10. So again, let's read and annotate. So X and Y produced by the male reproductive organs. Now again, now it's focusing on male of two different organisms. Okay. Again, X and Y is produced by male reproductive organs. Okay. So X, as you can see, is very obvious. This is actually the sperm. But how about this Y? Okay, if you look carefully, again, some of you write stigma, which is actually not supposed to, because it is something produced by the male. And obviously, even you don't look at the diagram, you actually can somehow guess that it's supposed to be the pollen grain. Now the B asks this question, why is X usually produced in large quantity? So we know X is actually sperm, right? So why sperm is produced in large quantity? Now this question I think I've discussed 2 times in class, so you should know. Again, why? To what? To increase the chances of the male reproductive cell to fusing with, or you can use the word to fusing with the female reproductive cell during fertilization. Okay, again, to increase the chances of male reproductive cell fusing with the female reproductive cells during fertilization. Now, some of you actually even explain as why is because you say that as during fertilization, when the sperms are traveling, some actually might die in the way, which is actually it's good to explain also if you want. But again, this is 1 mark, so don't need to explain too much. Okay, let's look at the next part of this question. The diagram below shows an unfertilized flower. Again, unfertilized flower with its anthers removed. Now, after some time, the flower developed into a fruit. Now, when you see the word flower develop into a fruit, straight away you must think, identify the topic. Again, right? RAISE. what is the topic that we're supposed to identify here? Flower develop into a fruit. It's supposed to be what? Automatically you should think of the word fertilization. Right, because if you think back in our booklet, we discussed about flower develop into fruit. That happens after fertilization. Let me just write out the process. Fertilization happens, then the flower turn to become fruit. Okay, but if you notice they use the word enter is being removed, that probably telling you something about what? Pollination. Okay, why? Teacher, why pollination is involved here since like, there are nothing mentioned here? Because again, pollination means what? The transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma. When anther, this part is being touched, and something is related to pollination already also. Okay? So basically the topic is about pollination and fertilization. Now, explain why the flower still could be developed into a fruit. So we know that anther is being removed, so pollination seems like it is being affected, like seems like, because there's no anther to produce and store and transfer. Okay? But again, we know that there's something called self-pollination and cross-pollination, right? So I might have the same flower. Example, this is another flower, lah, okay? Same flower, that this anther actually can travel to the stigma. Or I have actually another flower from a different plant of the same species that transfer. Okay? So it doesn't necessarily to use its own anther. Okay? So how do you explain? Your explanation should touch pollination, fertilization, and a bit flower and fruit, if possible. But here I already mentioned, so it's not that important, this part. But these two parts you must touch. So you can say that the stigma still could receive pollen grains, or I should say could still, but let me just put this, could still receive pollen grains from the anther of another flower. Even when I say carried by animal also can. Carried by animals. Now, some of you actually write a very nice answer. You say exactly almost the same thing, but you say carried by animals and wind. Then it's slightly wrong already. Why? Because this flower is an animal pollinator or insect pollinated flower. So there's no wind that's supposed to be mentioned here. Okay? Are you done? No. Again, you must mention about what? Fertilization also. Because without fertilization, this will not develop into a fruit, right? So fertilization then took place for the ovary to develop into a fruit. Okay, now the why I need to mention about again develop into a fruit is because the word ovary here, right, I need to be specific because here is just say the flower develop into a fruit, right? But they didn't specify that ovary is the one that actually becomes the flesh of the fruit. So it's good for you to mention about ovary also. But I feel that the most important thing is fertilization must explain. And again, you must explain that pollination can happen. Why? Because the pollen grain actually came from another anther of another flower. Okay? So a lot of you actually get 1 mark because you just mentioned about pollination. Means that because you still can receive pollen grain from another flower. Yes, but you didn't mention about fertilization, which is something that's very important here. Okay? So I think that's all. Let's move on to our last question here. The diagram below shows the human reproductive system. Again, let me just circle the word human reproductive system, plant reproductive system. Again, you are supposed to compare both of these. Now, if you look at this, we know that this is actually the male reproductive system. Let me just write the word male. And this one I know is a flower, and this is actually a wind pollinated flower. How do we know? Because the anther and the stigma is sticking out from the petals. From the petals. Yes. Now, whether the following statement is correct about human and plant reproductive system, and now we're supposed to put a tick in the box. Now, this is a part actually where a lot of you get it wrong. So you need to be very careful, okay? Now, first one, fertilization takes place in P and S. Where is P? P is actually the penis. Okay, let me just label here penis. Does fertilization take place here? No, 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 no. That's supposed to be in the female parts, right? So this is wrong. And when this is wrong, obviously one is wrong already. Okay, S. What is S? S is actually the ovary, so which is actually correct. But again, because P is wrong, so this statement became a wrong statement. Again, it's wrong statement, you don't put a cross here because the questions only ask you to tick if it is correct. Next one, 2. The reproductive cells will travel down P and R. Now, P is a penis, right? So we know that the Q, which is the testis, will produce, right? And produce, then it will go through this, then come down. So travel down, seems like it works, right? Seems like it logical. The male reproductive cell, which is the sperm. Then what is R? R is the filament, right? Travel down to filament? Seems like not right. Why? Because this one produce, this one what? This one store. And you just like, go right, or either go to another plant. So it seems like it doesn't go down to R. So let's just put a cross here. This is wrong. Number 3, the male reproductive cells are found in Q and U. What is Q? Let's see. Q is what? Testis, which is good. This is true. How about U? U is another anther. Eh? Again, anther and testis actually have a similar function, right? Produce and store the male reproductive cell. So this is true. This is true. Let's see the last one. P and T. P and T has the same function in its reproduction process. What is P? P is penis, is to transfer, right, the male reproductive cells from male's body to female's body. But how about T? T actually is what? It's the stigma. Is stigma transferring all this? No, right? Stigma is to receive, right, the pollen grains, then help in fertilization. So it's actually nothing related. So it's wrong. Okay, so the only answer for part A is number 3. Okay, so let's move on. Now, the diagram below shows another flower with brightly colored petals. Now, again, with the word brightly colored petals, I know this is animal pollinated flowers or insect pollinated flowers. Now, part Y of the flowers contain yellow powdery substance, and part X feels sticky when touched. Now, when I say part Y of the flower contains yellow powdery substance, automatically I know this part Y is what? Is what? It's basically the uh, anther, sorry, because it produces, right? And part X feels sticky when touched, then probably you can know that this is basically stigma, okay? Because it need to be sticky to stick the pollen grain, right? So name the yellow powdery substance. Again, just tell me it is pollen grains. That's all. Move on. Based on the information above, X state how the sticky substance in X helps in the pollination of the flower. Now, so we mentioned that this is a stigma. Yeah. And this is kind of sticky. And how does this helps? Again, the function of this stigma is actually to receive the pollen grain, right? The pollen grain. So if this sticky, it actually can hold on and actually hold on the pollen grains easily, right? Okay. So what you can explain here is that pollen grain, pollen grains can be stuck onto the stigma more easily. Okay, again, why? Because it's sticky, so it's easy to catch it or stuck it. If it's not sticky, then it's hard, right? Then the chances of pollination or fertilization will be lower. When it's lower, then flower cannot produce fruit. And again, yeah, that's basically affecting the whole thing. Okay. And that's all for our whole test discussion. So just a quick reminder, the first thing that you're supposed to do is to do correction using green pen. Okay, and second is please make sure you have your parents or guardian's signature. And where do you supposed to sign? You're supposed to sign on the have your parents or guardians to sign on the right top of the test paper. Okay, you can just sign here. So I think that's all for this test. You learn something useful and you can continue and do best in your next test. Okay, all the best. Thank you. See you. Bye bye.